Okay, recording. So Yana, you can unmute and go ahead and get started.
All right, Margot. So this is part 2 of the Metal Takeoff. It's just we're still going from our general steps. And last time our step was step 9. So we are on step 10 right now. We will try to make it short and sweet today. We're not going to be going to the field use today. For people who is very disappointed, they can just wait until the next training. All right, let's play the step 10. All right, number 10, data setup. We use Revit data setup and project details to analyze and set up required detailed data in the takeoff program. But this is our takeoff program. So all the data will be collected from the server for Revit resources and will be recorded in the takeoff program after we run UPG on the model. So right now we cleared everything up so we can run the UPG on the model first time. All right, we just ran UPG on the model and we collected all the data, all the Revit resources data existing on the server in our program. So we can have a little preview how much things we collected and how much we still have to set up. So you can see here everything what's white is coming in from the server, so it's ready for us. And everything what's red, we still will have to add. So we can go in our takeoff program, in the UG window. And we can change the server details on actual details and add the details we still don't have in this program. I actually didn't show that I had to refresh the window. It was much more details than it shows here. So it is a little bit of cheating. After I refreshed the window, it was more details. Kind of like when I opened it, it seems like it's just a couple of, but no, it was more. And also, like a couple of words I wanted to mention for people who never done the takeoffs, and we have a few people who never done takeoffs, just to see how much work goes goes into before you. Before me, it's the same amount of work Pedro has to put in, or whoever sets up the project. It's a lot of stuff set up for you, and kind of you don't see it. It's all behind the scene. And once you start doing FOBs, it's kind of FOBs are VIP task, so it's a lot of fun. So just see how much stuff goes before you, so you can have fun with the FOBs. All right, step number 11. Let's roll. All right, item number 11. We need to add the actual detail number. It's more stuff right now. I have to be honest, I had to re-UPG the model one more time to get actually more stuff in here. So the way I usually look up the data to see which Revit resource on using which detail. It's a multiple ways you can do it. One way you can just go through the details, and on the bottom here it usually says what family is used, so you can just assign the look at here and assign it to your detail. If for some reason it's not used, if it doesn't say what family it is, let's say it doesn't say here, so you can always double click here in the on the detail, and it'll tell you what family it is. You just know your family is -P, not -D, because it's just a detail view. So you would do over here, you just look up this family. I think this was 3 on 501. And you just go and assign it to each Revit resource. I think I have a sub-step here, not sure. All right, item 11C, adjust face of the system if required. What is the face of the system and how do you know what is the number you need to adjust? Let's just look at the details of this project particularly we're working on. So the face of the system, let's just look at the detail first. The face of the system is this number. It's from dimension point to the inside pocket of the glass pocket. This is your number you need to check. So 2 1/4, it's actually a default number. It will come in with your standard details from your setup team. So all the standard details actually have a pocket 2 1/4, the face of the system. So you can see here we have, for example, 3 inches, and we need to change it on 2 1/4. So what you would do if you need to change it on 2 1/4, and I just change it here so I can show you how to change it. You select all the details. You do right click on your mouse, and this comes in, adjust pocket location. And sometimes you might get this error message, and it basically tells you you selected too many details. So you can say, okay, I will select just half of the details. I don't want to select all of the details. Select half of the details and adjust pocket location. Again, right click on the mouse and you change it on 2 1/4. And you can say, you can see it's changed it for you on all the details. No, I need to do the rest of them. One thing to watch out when you have maybe multiple different systems, like on this job, you have a check wall system, and you can see our face of the system, our glass pocket. It's 2 inches. It's the same principle from dim point to the inside glass pocket. This is your number, and when you change the glass pocket on all the details you have, just make sure you specifically filter your check hole, so you keep your pocket as 2 inches here, which we actually already have a setup like this. All right. Oh, this is my favorite step. Right, Marge? This is very satisfying step, because we still remember all times when we had to draw units manually. All right, item number 12. Exporting tags from Revit to AutoCAD. So you have your takeoff program is ready. You changed all your data what came for you from the setup team. You changed the details on the details from the job as much as you could. And you have your model, your XXX units, and we ran UPD, and we collected all the new unit number information. So we always will need to remember to synchronize the central after we UPD the units. All right, we're done synchronizing. And right now we are ready to export our units from the model. So we're going to Takeoff tab and we go to this one, create tag drawings. So you can select where you want to export. So usually I just export in the units folder, select folder, and it's asking you what do you want to export. So you can see over here we have elevations also, but we will show you the elevations, the field use part in a different video. So right now we'll just export the units, and I'll go ahead and select all the units. So okay, and it's creating tag drawings. And it's going really quick. You can see it's around 200 units. I'm just going to take a few seconds, so it's very fast process. It's a huge improvement from what we had before when we had to draw them manually. All right, you can see it took less than a minute to create 200 something unit drawings. So it's 13. Yeah, it's also very satisfying step. It's a fun step. Item number 13, run UPD on the first unit. Before we jump at the running UPD on the first unit, I like to print the key sheets, preliminary key sheets for myself, because it's just easy to trace your units when you look at the units, where are they, instead of just looking at the Revit. Revit is pretty easy, but for the training purposes, and sometimes it's just easy to look on the printed key sheets. So this is our model, and for this one, we will print elevations and floor plans, just because we want to make sure for the multiple elevations units are the same mark number. So we on a Takeoff tab, and we're going unit key sheets plot, and we begin unit key sheets plot here, and we ignore because we want to print everything here. I'll say okay, and I want to select also so I will select all the elevations besides 201, because 201 is the tech wall, which is not we're not doing tech wall right now. And I will add some plans also. So to just double check my unit namings. Let's say okay. And it's asking us where to print it and how to name it. So we usually name it model keys or model unit keys. And I will save it just in my units folder, because it's just for me right now. It's not for the checker. Sorry, I said checker. PC. We'll see how long it will take. All right, it took about 2.5 minutes, and it came up like this. So it's all what you need to do. You just rotate it, the key sheets, so to save it. So scroll through key sheets just to see what I saw a couple warnings, so I know a couple things I will need to fix, like for example those elevation not showing the unit mark number, which is not good. I need to fix it. But I just scroll and noted that so to see what's going on. This is kind of weird too. I don't know why it's still showing XXX. It's not units. I don't think it needs to be units here. But it's just something for double check, so we will clean it up before it goes to the checker. You can see some unit mark numbers missing, so I need to clean it up. Actually, I didn't know it's going to be like this when I printed it. I thought it's going to be all good. All right, let's. You want to do next, Margot? It's lagging. 14. Yeah, this is the exciting one. All right, item number 14. Let's talk about the red tag. What is the red tag? So if you open your unit, you want to about to run UPD on all the units. So you're just going through your units and see if something is weird, and you see the one of the tag lines is coming up red. What does it mean? It means this particular line wasn't in your setup. All what you need to do, you need to set it up. And usually it is something simple because everything we have gets set up from the setup team, stage 1, stage 3. So you can see this is red and it's not reading, it will not be read by the intersecting verticals in this case. So we need to create it. So just open our UD window. We save this into the resources. And we save it here. This is particularly here, this is just dummy tag. Doesn't let us save it because we need to have a detail here. Yeah, you can't save it if you don't have a detail. You have to put the detail first and then you save the use. It's kind of weird thing. They don't give it to us, so I'll just call it. And you can see here, I just kind of made up this detail. It's not actual detail. And this is just to get it differentiated from the other details if I want to say something different here. So this will not be printed on your detail bubble. This is just, it tells everything after this. Is it semicolon? I think so. Everything after here, it's just for us to differentiate this detail. So I can say door, I can say pretty much whatever, I can say door XXX, but basically something would mean something to me. It's pretty much door, it's for the door threshold. All right, so this is just a detail to the placeholder. And this is the dummy tag, but we needed to get it drawn on our unit, so we will have all the rules reading for the doors. So I just saved it in the program. And actually for the doors, I still need to do some modifications always for door units, just the way we make names for the rules, but I'll show it to you. So to make sure it's fixed, I just go over here. This is the takeoff tab and other cutoff. So I just go here and I can do either draw all tags or I can just draw metal tags for this unit. And now you can see this tag is white. So in order for us to get this door ready to run UPD, we already know we need to modify this automatic tag. And we just want to double check. Where is it going? So in this job, we're using real modification like this. We're just looking in our rules and we see actually this is our default name up to here or up to here. But this one we add to differentiate if it's a strip wall, a strip window wall, or it's a curtain wall. And this job, it's everything, all the doors are on a strip window wall, which makes the fabrication of the verticals is different. So all what we do here, we just add this little name SW075 to get our rules to read. And we don't need to, if it's set up right, and usually it is, so we just, here I'm just deleting the tags, we don't need anymore, it's something we need to clean up. So now we're ready to run UPD. Happen. Something happened, Margot. I think it bumped out. Sorry, guys. Technical difficulties. Marge, what happened?
Item number 14.
What is the
Let's talk about the.
So if you open your unit,
You want to
read.
about to run UPD on all the
And
units. So
we
just
don't
going
need
through
to.
units and
I
see
think
the
you're playing it
setup
twice.
It's
Usually
really-
it is. So we just. Here I'm just deleting the tags. We don't need anymore. It's something we need to clean up. So now we're ready to run UPD. What? Anyway, we run UPD. let's move to the next. I don't know what's going on here. Detail naming takeoff program. Yeah, we're gonna talk about it, the semicolon again, I think, here a little bit. All right, item number 15, detail naming in the takeoff program. Let's talk about how we name the takeoff program. If we look on in Revit, the profiles what come in Revit, it's very often we have two profiles on one detail, and let's say this is our vertical, our typical vertical, and it uses two profiles. It uses profile 562.033 and it uses profile 562.018. So it's two profiles with, so how do we assign this detail? Because technically it's just a one detail. It's detail 2 on 501. So to address this problem, to differentiate those two details, what we came up with is using semicolon. So in our UD window, so if we're looking on our detail on detail 2 on 551, you can see it's two details, one for the left vertical, the L and R. So L, it stands that's on the left side of the unit in this particular case. So, and what we're using semicolon to separate it. So that will be displayed, it will be in the data, but everything after semicolon will not be on the actual detail on our unit. So if we look on the unit with using this detail, like this unit, it just shows 2 and 551, but it doesn't display it on the unit in a detail bubble, which is very helpful. But you can see here, if I select my tag and I'm looking at the stacks from this detail, you can see it still has a semicolon L sign. So it helps us if we need to assign multiple users for the same detail. If I have a, like particularly here, this detail, it is very common to have for the field use parts, we also put sometimes we separate it with semicolon, or just something different, like particularly here, you see we have just 501 detail, which uses this seal, and we also have 501 silcan to separate the silcan. So you can see, if we're looking at the detail 501, this is our just the silcan here. I'm sure we use it with semicolon to separate it. So this way we can, on our units, on all our fobs, it will be just a short name, the first, everything what comes on the left side of the semicolon. And here we can separate to gives us more freedom to use this detail multiple times, this actual detail, wide on 501. All right, this is it about the semicolon. Just make sure when you put it correct, do not misspell it. What I mean, sometimes you put, instead of semicolon, you type the one what's below. So if you do this, it doesn't work. So we are on 16, getting close. Yay. Some manual miscellaneous parts. All right. It's still loading so much faster on your computer, much than on mine. Sorry about it, guys. It's just internet.
Well, that's loading, Yana. Do you want to field a question?
Yeah, if anybody have questions.
When you have a red tag that comes in as your, after you UPD the Revit model, would you use the name of the tag? I mean, does it come in with that tag name? On that example, it said like door dummy on it.
Just in this particular case, it was the unit, like first unit I opened. I use it for name too, because in that particular name and the resource is the same. But usually no. If it is a regular resource, a resource doesn't match to the name. It just that the door is always like this.
So in some cases, you might get a red tag coming in, but it doesn't have a name necessarily associated with it. So you have to
look it up.
figure out what
Yeah,
you're
you need to
going
look
to
it
assign.
up what it is and
Okay.
kind of figure it out. Most of the time, the red tag comes in. It's something you just pointed. You do the reference detail and you pointed it to the one what's already set up. So usually you don't, usually we have everything set up what was in the profile set. So if it's something new or something drafting added after the setup, something profile modifier, it happens too. But usually it's just some kind of accessories. We add this angle and we point it to the main detail. So we put the reference detail. I don't think we're talking about the reference details here. Oh man, it's taking forever. What's this?
Okay. Any other questions while they're getting that next video loading?
Silence. Let's see. See if you connected to the server, Margot. Oh, maybe just skip this one. Maybe it's something with 16. Yeah, let's go on. So on 16, we're talking about what we're talking about on 16. It's step 16. We're talking about dummy tag miscellaneous. So it's basically here we're talking about if you do need to create something, something what is not doesn't have a Revit resource, you just put it on detail 500. So it's all what it is. So for accessories, kind of. But it doesn't happen on every job. It just if we're talking about miscellaneous parts, we're talking about miscellaneous parts later. How's the loading goes, Margot? Bad? You would think if you pre-recorded it, you save. And we did run them by ourselves. I'm trying it on my computer too, and it's still loading.
All right. Item number 17, step number 17, check the unit model. This is how we check the unit model. We do not have much time to check it. We have to go pretty fast. So we run UVD on our unit, and we know where it is on the key sheets. So we look it up what elevation it is on. And then we're looking it up and comparing it with the details used on that elevation. And also we're looking on overall size, if it makes sense. And we go on a model space of this unit. And we're just looking at it in both views, in all the views, if it looks good. And also we're looking at the glass, if glass looks good. If we question in the glass bite, we can measure it here. And we can just look at the view in our glass and see if it looks correct. There the detail. And this is how we check our unit before we're giving it to the project coordinator. You see, I said project coordinator this time. Good job, Yana. And yeah, let's look at this one. This one is a good one. It's one of my favorite tools, and it's applicable to both to field use, especially field use, right, Margie? Field use and the units. Let's try to see if we can load it. Step number 18, use command save default mark locations. This is one of my favorite commands in AutoCAD. So I'll show you really quick how to use it. So you run your unit, you edit your unit and go on a model space. And let's say you don't like how this mark number is positioned here in relationship with the tagline, in relationship with your part. It's overlapping. So you want to move it where you want it to be. And you type save, default, mark location. You can see I didn't type save default mark location so long. I just said I typed save D and it found this command. So I say enter, you follow the prompt, you're selecting the mark number you want to, the position of the mark number you want to record. And it tells you, okay, for this mark number, location is recorded here. So if I UPD this unit and for all the next units, it will place it where I want it to be. So it is very useful to set it up the way you want it to be before you run UPD on all the units, so you don't have to move your mark numbers so much. It also saves you time. I think it's the last one before we go into the field use, but we decided to not go into the field use today. So we will show you a couple videos we have about the everybody's favorite part is miscellaneous. So because nobody knows what's going on with miscellaneous, some people never even notice that we have miscellaneous there. So yes, it is miscellaneous. We are assigning miscellaneous. It's a fasteners, it's gaskets, it's setting blocks. It's very important items to purchase for the job. So we're setting it all up when we're doing the metal and glass takeoff. We assigning it and ordering it. We're giving the order form to PMs. So if you have to do miscellaneous, it's kind of where you're looking it up. Hopefully it will move. All right, let's talk about miscellaneous self-check. It is a lot of different ways to check miscellaneous, and I will show you what I do. You're more than welcome to find your own way. So usually what we do, we make a PDF out of the Bluebeam session, the most current Bluebeam session, to make our markups. We do it around by the time we finishing up with Metal Takeoff. So this PDF is used also for Metal Takeoff check. One of the things we check for Metal Takeoff, we check for the parts on the general notes, making sure all the parts are here in our takeoff as well. So if something is not found on the parts or something is, you can see misspelled, we put the note here, just kind of letting know PM that we did look into it and this is what's the differences we found. Usually it's not much on the metal that could be found, kind of this particular, just some details didn't get updated and it's still finding general notes, finding old parts, and this one, just the way it was on the detail, it's not exactly how we have a die, and here it just was misspelled. So we're checking our metal here as well on the same PDF, which we save for miscellaneous takeoff. So what we do, we go through each item on miscellaneous and we will compare first for checking, we'll compare with our miscellaneous order, which we export when we're ready, when we're done our metal takeoff for all the metals, we'll export the combined miscellaneous takeoff just for checking. And this is my just for checking miscellaneous order form. And what I do, I just go through all the tabs and on my PDF right here, I will highlight everything I have in my order yellow. You can see everything was highlighted yellow. It means it's in this order I'm also looking if it's makes sense to be sharp or field applied for the parts. And if I find something, I will highlight the tab and I will highlight here and I will kind of tell myself what's wrong. So I usually, by that time, I went through the metal, I know my project very well, so I can see something pops up and I need to update it. So if something I need to update it, I will just let here, I just double check, do I really need this one? Because this one I put yellow, it wasn't in the general notes, but we do have it in our takeoff, and I just double check where it was. So to make sure we need it and it is legit, it's maybe not in the general notes. So if the part is not found or the part is not in my order form, because my order form, miscellaneous order form, only reflects what's on the metal. So everything what's attached to our metal should be on our form. So if something here in the general notes and it's not in our order form, I put the yellow circle around.
Red circle.
And I put the explanation below here saying why it's not in order form. So if you're looking for something, you can always, before start calling the takeoff, just look for these notes and see why it's not there. So most of the time, the parts we are not including in our miscellaneous takeoff form, it's the parts what comes with the panels or with the hook lock, with the steel, with something field applied. Usually Sherwin or Sauer's group, they will take care for it for us. But you can see a couple things here. I looked into it and they blue. So what does it mean if it's blue? It's just a reminder for me, like for example, here I already updated it. This is just work in progress PDF. So I found it, I put it in blue. I added it to my data. It will come in on the final miscellaneous. So I crossed it out and I made it yellow. So it means it is included. It was blue at some point, but then I crossed it yellow and it will be in miscellaneous order form, so it's all good. And for those parts, I still have to go through and end them, but on the final version, the version I will share with PMs, it will be all highlighted yellow. I'll make sure it's included. And as well as for we go through the gaskets. So on my miscellaneous order form, I go through everything. So you see, like, for example, here, just cut your eye right away. You can see this fastener says feet. We can't have fasteners on feet. It's always each. It counts each. So just something to fix in the takeoff program. And we always looking at the gaskets for presents. So this part I highlighted red because it's something what shop carries, and they have it in a shop stock. So I don't need to give them order form for it. So just reminder for me to remove it. And here I will tell myself this is what I need to change. This gasket is actually this gasket. I need to update it in the program, and the things what I need to update it in the program. Just make sure when I'm checking it, because sometimes when I'm checking it, I don't have a takeoff program updated right away. Make sure I updated it. So just a reminder. All right, this is the self-check, the first run of self-check. We will talk about the gasket a little bit more, what we do for the gasket. We'll talk a little bit more later. So you can see on, yeah, just start loading that. It's we saying self-check if it's missing, edit manually, but I don't, because sometimes it's really expensive. All right, this is miscellaneous self-check part 2. This is one little tip I want to share with you, what will help you to find miscellaneous item you're looking for. And it's for the project engineers who uses takeoff program. So just one little tip I think you need to know. Let's say you want to find some item, you don't know where does it go in your program, you need to update it. And let's say we're looking for gasket 83 for some reason. We need to update it. So we go now takeoff program on the front and we choose F11 on our keyboard. So by default, it actually brings you to the tables like this. It will be default if you're doing it first time. From tables, you will go to queries with this arrow down. You will choose queries. And in queries, you scroll down and the helpful tables here, the two helpful tables for you, it's ACAD miscellaneous view, which will show you miscellaneous item. Let's say we're looking for this gasket 83, and we can see what part is attached to. Sorry. Or it's even better, it says AutoCAD miscellaneous view and details. So it will tell you not just the part it's attached to, it's assigned to, it also will tell you what detail is it on. So if we're looking for this gasket 83 again, we found it and it tells us it's on the detail 501. So we, in our takeoff program, if we do UD, and it brings our UD window, something what we need to update here or just replace here, it's the place where you do this. So once you know something you need to replace, you found what detail is it goes on, you do want to update up to a certain level in your program. Certain things you just fix manually, but most of the stuff we want to have updated because our data gets pushed back on the server, could be pushed back on the server, so we want information correct. So let's say, again, this is just for example, let's say I need to change this gasket 83 we were looking at. So we are on this detail, we know it's right here. It's assigned to this face tab, this is this gasket. So we don't need to click on each individual one here, on each individual face tab to update it. We can just go right here, select this detail, do the right click to replace, and we can replace miscellaneous item. So we can find it in here. And let's say I replace it on a gasket 83X. Again, this is just for show. I'm not actually planning to replace it. But if I do replace it, it will replace it for me. And all the parts we need to update it. So it is an easy way to update it. And obviously, if something you found something big you need to update, like particularly here, I didn't have this gasket at all on the project, and I actually have a lot of this gasket. So I had to update it. And if you update something in miscellaneous, even if it's like a small thing, you always need to rerun UPD on all the units and elevations. If it's something goes on elevations, you always need to rerun it, because if you want to re-export your miscellaneous order form and make sure all this stuff is got fixed, it's not gonna get pushed back into the data in the database until you rerun UPD on everything. So no matter what, always rerun UPD on everything if you did some updates to your miscellaneous. All right. How much do I have left? Let's just do just this one. I think it's. I have more, but we can do it another time. Let's see how long is this one, Marge. Miscellaneous is an exciting subject, aren't they? 3 minutes ago. Miscellaneous self-check part 3. One more tip I wanted to share for helpful for miscellaneous check. So you remember we had our gasket 83X we added here. So to push it in the program, it's enough to say apply here. So I will apply it right now, although I don't need it. And I have to remind you, yes, it will be, I think, in the program. Let's see. But it will not be pushed back to the miscellaneous order form unless you UPD your unit you updated it on. All right, so we pushed it back to the program. And let's say we changed our mind, we need to update it. So the useful table, you actually can change the data in your database. It's the tables. Tables, not the queries. Queries, you can find things in queries easy, but you can change anything there. So if you need to change something, you go to tables on the back end of the your database, so you can update something globally. So you go again F11, and your table you're looking for, it's either ACAD MISC. So it's the, let's say you know you have a wrong part on your in your takeoff, and you know you don't need to have it this 83X. You know for sure you don't need this 83X. We just played with it. We can update it from here, so we just change it here, and we can use either anything like text filters here. If it's a long update, find and replace. So when you show, for example, yes, I don't need gasket 83X in my takeoff program. So when we updated here, we closed it, and if we're looking in our UD window, it should be gone from this detail 501. So we have it over here on our face tab. So you see the gasket is back again. And it is, again, it's for project engineers who use a takeoff program. And it is a very useful tip if something you need to update globally. For example, you found that your gasket needs to be replaced or something is completely missing in your takeoff program. And again, just a reminder, always UPD all your units and all your elevations after you update the we got it update in your database, because even if you see right now it is showing up, it's here, it's all correct here, it's not going to be in your miscellaneous order form unless you re-UPD your whole project for your updates. All right, I think we should stop here. So there's a lot of excitement on miscellaneous. You can tell I'm very, very excited about it. So we should wrap it up, guys. We have like 5 minutes left. Does anybody learned anything today?
I have a question. Since you need to re-UPD for the miscellaneous updates, when do you do that? Do you do it after you've gone through and checked all the miscellaneous and updated them? So you don't have to do it a bunch of times?
Yes, definitely.
Okay.
Yes, of course. Yeah, I because it could be like I'm saying re-UPD the unit you updated on, but no, it's usually multiple updates, and I'm not memorizing where are they, so I just re-UPD everything for miscellaneous, and it is done after the Metal Takeoff. So Metal Takeoff, we just sometimes depends on the time, we can kind of incorporate it in the time frame with Metal Takeoff, but usually it's done after Metal Takeoff.
Yeah, I have a question on the save mark number location command. Does that overwrite the location that's in the mark location table in the takeoff program?
Yeah, it does, and it doesn't work. So the table we're looking at, yeah, it's a mark location table. Yes.
And you can kind of play with it. Like, for example, I have a Magic. Can I share it for a second?
Yeah, let me
Really
stop
quick.
share.
So this is this table what it pushes back, the save default mark location. So it basically there's some number here, and it's in relationship with the line, with the tagline. So it's basically, if it's a horizontal line, it's only up and down, and if it's vertical line, it's only left and right. It's not three-dimensional. It's not memorizing it three-dimensional. It's only left, right for verticals and up and down for horizontals. So this is basically the distance from the tagline.
If it's not listed there, will it make a new one?
You can make a new one yourself. Or, for example, what I sometimes have to do, like you see this one, CRNR, it's one instance and it says star after it, but we have CRNR for trims, for corner trims. So sometimes I have to make like a secondary one out of this one. So you have to make the new one. It's not going to create the new one for you.
It looks like it's making the new ones.
Yeah, I
The
have a
ones
problem with CRNR.
The capital, see the capital letter tag
Yeah.
4? Those look like
Yeah.
the new ones.
But if it's already here, you see, because we do have default ones, they are already here.
Mm-hmm.
Like particularly CRNR, you have to, if you want to create CRNR trim, you can kind of try to enforce it and make it yourself. Because otherwise there will be overlapping, because it will find this default one, CRNR, and say, oh, I found it. And you just place both of them on the top of each other, which is kind of annoying.
Okay.
So we do have a preset one for us. But yeah, this is all the job specific.
About the count on the miscellaneous, or actually the miscellaneous, for the PEs, be careful changing anything in the tables. In the UD window, there's relationships between the tables.
Yeah, good
but
point.
if you go directly to the tables, the relationship between the tables are not there. So modifying it in the tables in there, it
you need to know what you're doing. Yeah, you need to know what you're doing, definitely. I did show it, but yeah, I do not like advise going on the back end generally unless you know what you're doing.
Also, do you use the takeoff? How do you do the counts? Did you cover doing checking the counts for the miscellaneous?
I do have a couple more video about how I do the gasket. For the fasteners, I don't really count them, honestly. I just, because it just, if it's like a reasonable amount, you can kind of see, you know, the job very well, you know where it goes. If you see it kind of like makes reasonable, and it comes in boxes, and just, it was never a problem with the fasteners, but it was problem with gaskets. So I spent good amount of time on checking gaskets, but I don't really check like precise amount of fasteners.
What about the bigger bolts, like the big?
Yeah, bolts
are kind of expensive.
Yeah, bolts, I'm kind of looking into them, but again, I'm kind of looking on reasonability. It's kind of, you can tell, like, depends on the size of the job. You need like 50 of them or maybe 100 of them. It's but again, I'm not counting them like one by one. I know I have like 10 elevations with this bolt, and I just say, okay, each elevation has 5 of those bolts. So you need about 50 of those bolts. I like to do it right after I done Metal Takeoff, because my mind is still like fresh. I know what's going on. I don't like to take a weekend off and do it like next week. I will not remember anything. It's nice to do it together because you know what's going on your project.
Okay. So you have another miscellaneous?
Yeah, I have a couple more about the gaskets. How do I check the gaskets?
Okay.
Because I check them like an old-fashioned way. And a couple things about what do I give to PM. When PM so PM can do this too.
Mhm.
And in the history, I think it's only 2 PMs who actually did it, but I'm still giving it to them. I think I should start giving up the prizes for PMs who actually trying to check the gaskets themselves.
They used the metal takeoff form.
Mhm. Yeah,
I think Matt Meyer did it once.
Yeah.
I saw it on one of his projects. I forgot.
Yeah.
I don't know who the other one is that you're.
Nick.
Nick.
What's his name?
Oh, the new guy. newer
The
guy?
Nick. He's not new.
Newish.
Nick Hall?
Yeah.
Nick
Yeah.
Fury.
No, Nick Hall.
Oh, Nick Hall.
Yeah. I'm just trying to show you. This is what it's basically, I'm just making it, this is like a very simple one. It's just a tiny takeoff, but this is what I give to PMs to check it. So it's already preset. So it has like you can plug it in here, but I am making it out of our, just a regular metal takeoff summary. It's just a form. It would be nice to make it all robotic. So right now I'm making it all manually, but this is one of the things we might well improve in the future.
I think the only thing that you can't count on the takeoff is that HP1 for the solid jams, those plugs, and the anchor holes, the anchors and the shims for the sill tracks. You can't count it directly from the metal takeoff form.
Yeah, you're right. You still, it is still manual in a lot of ways. It's I'm just kind of wanted to show something about miscellaneous because again, a lot of people don't know how much data we have there. It's how much kind of goes into it. It's not just the metal, it's not just your fabs, it's a lot of stuff behind it. And it is important to order. If you don't order it, it's just, you're screwed.
Yeah, we look forward to your next miscellaneous takeoff class.
Oh, shut up.
I mean, it's a continuation, right? Because you haven't shown us how you count it.
I do have it. I have a couple of videos. But we're trying to do it for the next class. We're trying to do the field use. And like I said, we probably will try to improve it a little bit before. So this is also the gasket check form. And this is like the gasket, the gasket what comes in the stock links. Yeah. All right. Anybody besides Chris? Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you for that miscellaneous.
Thanks, Yana, Margie, and
Thanks,
everyone
Yana.
else
Thanks,
for
Margie.
participating. Good
Thank
job.
you.
Thank you, Margie, for coming up out of the bed to do this for us.
No problem, anytime.
It wouldn't be loading at all on my computer. I tried.
No problem, Yana.
It would take like 10 minutes for one video to load.